This is your interactive show, and my name is Marian Toure. Welcome. As always, I'd like to welcome you to the show. This is your interactive show, and you will find us on social media. The show is about you. It's about what is trending on social media. We give you about half hour every day, Monday through Friday, to amplify your voice and to magnify whatever you want us to talk about. We talk about it and tell the rest of the world what you are thinking from wherever you are from around the world. You would find us on social media. We are on Facebook, facebook.com/joynews. On TV, like our page, comment on all the posts we put there. We'll amplify your voice by sharing your comments with the rest of the world. You will find us on Twitter. We tweet at Joy News on TV, and that is for the main Joy News page. JN Interactive has its own interactive Twitter handle now. It's JN Interactive GH. You can send your tweets there also. We have a few posts actually on Twitter, so go and tweet, retweet, comment on it, and I'll take your tweets live. I am on Twitter too. You can find me at MN Toure. Joy News, I am at multitvworld.com will be our email address. So send us your mails as well. 0540109009 is our WhatsApp number. It is a new one. It's the latest kid on the block, and we are using that. Whatever comment you send, we will amplify that also and then share it with the rest of the world. And JN Interactive is where tech meets news to set the agenda. So organized labor appears to be bracing itself for a showdown with government over the daily national minimum wage for this year. And the Trades Union Congress is pushing for a conclusion on the negotiations on the minimum wage, which is currently pegged at 5 cedis, 24 Ghana pesos. They actually calling for an increment in the daily wage, although it is not yet clear by what percentage. Some media reports suggest that they want it increased to about 6 Ghana cedis. But even before the negotiations are concluded, a presidential staffer, Dr. Michael Bessa White, has described the demand by organized labor as very unfortunate, since negotiations are still ongoing, and especially because they are not doing much to, improve productivity. I was hoping that story would show so that you would also see it, but it's not showing. So the demand actually by organized labor is that government should try and do everything by May 21st. And they're justifying that the recent hikes in prices of goods and services have brought all of this about. And Dr. Bessa White, when he asked that organized labor must show improvement in productivity, we are actually thinking, is that the way forward? Should he request that, we show some level of commitment to what we're doing, measure productivity and say, hey, productivity is this, and so if you're asking for pay rise, then you're contributing this amount to the labor force, and so it is justified that I also give you this. We are looking at it, we are tossing it up, and we need clarity on this particular issue, and we are seeking that clarity from former employment minister and now labor expert, who is in the person of Austin Game, and he actually lost JN Interactive. He's on the line right now to help us with that. Good evening, sir. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, my friend. How are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you too?
By His grace.
And thank you so much for joining me once again. I know this is your second time on the show, and I'm loving it already. So, thank you. Organized labor, has given government an ultimatum, and this is to conclude negotiations on the minimum wage by May 1st. And I want to ask you, is that the way to go?
Certainly not the way to go. And I think organized labor itself should not be convinced that is the fair way to engage in it. This is industrial relations. It's about ensuring that some level of civility permeates through the negotiation. What they are seeking to do is like compelling and pressurizing the employer to yield to their requests. And that the Labour Act under Section 127(3) and 4 forbids both parties from engaging in any such act. It says, among other things, that during the time of negotiation, they should not intimidate or threaten each other, and that should anyone violate or refusing to continue to negotiate, report such a matter to the National Labour Commission, which is a completely independent body put together by the social partners themselves. And presently, the chairman of the commission was put together by organized labor. So I mean, we should not do anything to disturb the rather difficult situation we find ourselves already.
Right. But Dr. Pesa White, who is at the office of the president, thinks that organized labor is not improving productivity. So that's not actually warrant an increase in the minimum wage. What is your take on that?
Well, I am not supporting that line of action that nothing should be done in its entirety. On the other hand, the onus lies on the employer to come out under Section 8B of the Labour Act. It enjoins the employer who has the right to formulate policies, including programs, and how they want to execute it and how they want to set targets for the individuals that work for them. And so if they don't want to do it, I'm an employer. And I make sure that the people that work for me, I give them what they should do. And they do it, and they are paid for the services they render.
Right.
Now, if you are an employer and you do not want to take steps to write your policies and to come out with its execution and set targets for the individual to perform, then you have a concern to raise at any forum that's appropriate.
So what you're trying to say is then that you have a KPI for them, and based on their KPI, if they perform, you give them X. If they perform above that, you add an extra X. Is that what you're saying?
Indeed, the KPI is just even an extract from the totality of the performance management system.
Okay.
Which certainly I do know that the Public Services Commission people have been trying for. I'm not blaming the present government. Indeed, the policy on this single spine was developed by past governments and the immediate past government. And so it's a national issue which everybody must be concerned with. And I think the PSC have done a lot. I hope that they will hasten, so within the next 2-3 4 months, we should be able to have this on board.
Right.
And leaving it open that way, organized labor, they will organize their members. They go to work every day. Whether you give them work or not, we are paying them.
Right.
And that is not proper.
Okay.
But
we're not sure what the new minimum wage would actually be, but reports actually suggest that it will be pegged at about 6 Ghana cedis. Would that be enough for an average worker?
It's not about being enough. That is why it's called National Daily Minimum Wage.
Okay.
It's the daily minimum wage. If your productivity level, why we must have productivity measuring kind of steps in place. Right. So in effect, if you are an excellent worker, you will have additional income.
Right.
If you are an average worker, you have something. If you score below that, you don't get nothing because it's about no contribution, no job.
Right. But considering
that's the bottom line.
Right, considering the recent increases in the general prices of goods and services, how much would be ideal as a daily minimum wage? Even if I know you're saying that 6 cedis, even if it's pegged at 6 cedi, will be a minimum wage. But some people would use this minimum wage to actually calculate what they're giving people, regardless of whether the person is working well or they're not working well. How much do you think would be ideal for, a minimum wage for someone daily, someone who gets paid daily?
The truth is that the monetary and fiscal policies of the government give us an estimate of a 9% inflation by end of year.
Right.
Today, as you and I are speaking, we have an inflation of about 14.5%.
Right.
So we have some kind of devaluation in our wage bill of about, rounding it up, about 6%.
6%, yes.
Now, so first of all, that restoration will have to be done.
Okay.
That's the way national daily minimum wage is established. But having restored it, if there are other instruments, if it is prudent for government to use the tax threshold mechanism to give red money into the pocket of the wage earners, so that we don't trigger another round of inflation. Because if you increase pay by 1%, you trigger another round of inflation.
Right.
Therefore, to me, if I were sitting in the chair right now, I will use a tax measure to adjust things instead of increasing pay by 1%.
Right. Because
we will be fueling inflation in the country. And that is what we are trying to arrest.
Okay.
So it doesn't make any serious economic sense. I can guarantee you, organized labor, they have very well-known economists in their midst. They have been in industrial relations for many years. Some of them are my friends.
Okay.
We've been together. So they know this is nothing new to them. So they should assist. That is the role. Under the Labor Act, the National Tripartite Committee under Section 113C, the part of the function of the National Tripartite Committee is to discuss the importance of the economy of the nation. It's not only about determining national daily minimum wage. So they should call that meeting not to discuss only the determination of the national daily minimum wage and base pay, but the importance of the economy, because it's not being hidden from all of us. Government has said that they have difficulties in managing the situation, and they are taking measures to arrest it, which we've all heard.
Right.
And so what other step can we all take to assist? They are in the saddle now. Together with them, they should go to the National Tripartite Committee meeting and discuss these issues and come out with the results. Okay.
So it just will take a multi-pronged approach to fix this thing.
Precisely. So it's not just limited to determining a national daily minimum wage and or determining a base pay. You can use, we have used it before, as far back as 1982, 83. I was one of the leaders of the TEMA trade unions, and we have gone to discuss this issue, and we introduced, that came about the introduction of the COLA, cost of living adjustment allowance. And that time, the inflation was 123%. And so today we are talking about 14.5%. We have to be very, very careful because we are living in a more dynamic global economic condition than in 1983.
Right.
So if we want to take steps to harass ourselves and get more, we will get it, and we can't buy anything in the market.
Wow.
So we have to be very, very careful.
Thank you very much, Mr. Game, for your education. It's been thoroughly insightful, and I hope that we can call on you again sometime soon.
You are most welcome.
Have a good evening.
You too.
So Sarah has been out there, as she always does, and in our video blog, she's been finding out, from the public whether you actually think it is fair to demand an increase in productivity before increasing the daily minimum wage. We have also been finding out from you, the public, if organized labor is justified in demanding an increase in the minimum wage, considering the general increases in the prices of goods and also of services. We'll take our video blog for the day. When we come back, I'll go to social media and take your comments that I've been dropping in on Facebook. Please stay with us.
I hope the minimum wage should be increased, because now the country is moving to a direction in which all the Ghanaians and the citizens in there are just suffering. And people go to work, they need increment, taxes are just rising up daily, and there is hardship in this country. And if the presidential staffer is telling us there shouldn't be increment, then I'm sorry for him. There should be increment. I'm sorry for him. There should be, if they've even gone ahead to even increase their pay to 7,200 to 8,120, the president is collecting 120, and ordinary man is working on the street. For them to increase the salary, and they go ahead telling us there should be no increment, I'm sorry for them.
As of now, economy is very bad. We're all suffering. And once they are working, they are supposed to get the increments. Secondly, we are borrowing too much. Recently, they said the government says don't increase any wages, but yet things are going up. So I think I agree with the TUC.
The price of everything has increased. The cost of living is now very high as compared to the, let's say, to 2-3 years back, okay? So definitely you can't, depend on your own salary. Okay, so today you go and buy something 1 cedi, about 2 or 3 weeks you go back and it's about 2 or 3 cedis. So you can't depend on your salary for all this year. So definitely it has to be increased. I don't even blame them because for even their salary alone, if somebody's whole year, annual payment. So if, for instance, they are taking about 9,000 or something, and then they are telling us that the productivity is very low, because of that, the salary should not be increased. I don't blame them, because if they are taking the same salaries as others are taking, then they will know that the salaries of Ghanaians or workers has to be increased. For them, 9,000, 8,000 is cool for them. So even if they don't even increase their payment, they can still live with what they even earn.
Welcome back. Welcome back. So that's what everybody is talking about in our video blog there. So now let's check out what other members of the community have been saying on social media. And the precursor, as always, is there. It's already been set. And our question was actually to ask if, organized labor's demand is justified, and if it is fair to demand an increase in productivity before increasing the minimum wage. And so we'll take the first comment. This one here says Ghana. like are you lamenting, or which one is this one? Pepsi just says perfect. They should go ahead. Justice says we always hope for the better. Frimpong Holy John. It's a justified cause. I'm sure you're trying to say yes first. It's a justified cause because the people at the top are only sharing the money. Let's also demand for our stake. Stephen says, Jigo, garbage in, garbage out. So the workers should begin to focus on increasing productivity. Okay. Baba Musa Tamale says, interesting times in Ghana, but I think that the TUC leadership is just being mischievous and hypocritical, to say the least. I said so because Mr. Kofi Assemwa and his TUC are fully aware that in November last year, when the finance minister appeared before Parliament to deliver the 2014 budget, the finance minister categorically announced a moratorium on wages and salaries for the public sector. Before that announcement last year, the TUC fully participated in a pre-budget discussion. So, Mr. Kofi Assemwa, what has changed? When will TUC talk about the need to increase productivity in the public sector instead? So you have no problem with the money issue. You think that they should hammer on productivity. Emilio says, Arab Spring in the making. We will make human sacrifice with our leaders. Ha 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 ha. Oh really? That is the joke, I hope. And Yakubu says, what organized labor is demanding is very right, especially when the cost of living is rising every passing day. Abuga, certainly they are. Widad says they should please bear with government as it tries to put the economy on sound track. Dixon from Laura, this ineptitudeness of the Mahama administration is just too much. How do you expect the ordinary worker to live a happy life in this Wahala Ghana? Ghana with introduction of high taxes without any increase. Doxson says our leaders do something. Osam Double, we love the move. Okay, Holland Jack says justified when all basic utilities have gone up. How do we expect them to live? This Sakawa government is making life unbearable for them, so I think it's a step in the right direction. Gazari Emmanuel, absolute nonsense. What do they term increase in productivity? Ambrose says, you are sending this from Beze in the Volta region. Ghana, with such a response from the government, it is clear this government is less concerned about the citizens but are always projecting their selfish interests. It's high time Ghanaian boot them out. Hackman says, who determines level of productivity in Ghana? If we're not working, then you are not also working because your work is to make us work. This is taking me back to Donald Rumsfeld's quote. I think that was in 2008 or something. We know, we don't know, we know, we know, we know something. Yeah, so you're just playing on words there. Jonathan Arthur says, it's a right step in the right direction. Why has government increased utilities and refused to increase salaries? Abdullahi Abdul Razak from Tamale. This is Ghana for you. But I think it is important for government to do something better to alleviate the suffering of the people. They deserve better upon all the increment in utility tariffs. Dixon, again, hey JM, everything about your government is just nyama. I see. Saidu Ibrahim says the prices of goods have gone so high that if there is no increase in wages, the outcome might be worse. Eric says workers support you. Let us boycott May Day celebration. If they fail, fuel prices go up every first day of the month. Daniel Orlando Kwame, I think their demand is justified because it makes government to be in their to put government on its toes. Nana Chine Evans culture. Ghana is in fire. Okay. Abraham says, yes, the demand of the organized labor is justified since there is automatic adjustment formula, which has resulted in frequent increases in prices of commodities, and their salaries are static. This government is a joke. What do they mean by the low productivity? Nancy says, bitter Ghana agenda at its best. Ghana Abre, Mackenzie Wilfred, a presidential staffer, and then you put world. What does he do? Is it about giving bad advice to the president? This is a simple job, and I can do it more than that. Does he pay tax like some of us? He should shut up if he doesn't have anything better at all to tell Ghanaians, and I'm sure that is to Dr. Kpesa White. Benjamin says, it's better for government to meet their demands now before considering the productivity increment, because inflation since the beginning of the year has gone a notch higher and workers must be compensated urgently. God save Ghana. And this is you're sending this in from Sunrain. Mackenzie says, great government. Otiyeri says, are we sure that all members of TUC are not partisan? Wahala for Ghanaians. So Hassan Mumuni, increase in what productivity? He's forgotten that everything keeps increasing daily. And what are they doing about it? And Felix says the center cannot hold Ghana falling apart. Yet I'm watching, who are the government staffers? What increase in productivity do you want? When did the so-called government staffers start measuring productivity level of public employees? Visionless government. You're quoting the Siedun Ketia, but I won't read it out. Comfort Yajiman says, okay. Emmanuel Awuni, I think that the demand is justified. It must, however, be reciprocated by hard work in order to increase productivity. Alfred Drake, let them all analyze it themselves because we're tired of this government. Apa, Ghana, Abre, Eric, Ghana for them. Samora Uswaje from Accra Day. My God, the presidential staffer should come again. What does he mean by low productivity? Then they should not be paid because their productivity is zero. TC is right, increment now or never. Abdul Maman Fushani says government should quickly address the concerns of TUC, especially when fuel prices are increasing, to avoid possible strike action. But the TUC should also be moderate in their demands because of the current economic challenges the country is facing. Paul says, I am fully in support. Emmanuel Kujopoku, first of all, you and I know that prices have gone up. Everything, money settled, has increased dramatically. So their demand is justified. And Ernest Crensel says, what at all has the staffer produced in this country to warrant their juicy packages to talk about productivity? He should shut up before the insults committee setting. So you're going to set up an insults committee and then rain some insults on them. Ah, you are so naughty. Kuma says, well, salaries must be increased. But this ultimatum, dear. Final comment, Abraham Solomon. No, I think what they are asking is their right. And I support the idea. Thank you so much for all your comments that have come in. I do appreciate you. The show is nothing without you. JN Interactive is all about you. And thank you so much. Steve is back. We can wrap up together. Welcome back, my brother.
Hey, a day. So now let's look at the formula. No. Wait. Be patient. Okay. Now let's look at the formula this way. Prices, commodities are going up. Inflation is up. Your salary is the same. TUC says increase prices, but increase wages. But the catch is that if you go ahead and increase by 1%, you are fueling more inflation. Yes. We're in trouble.
I know, right? The explanation was that, oh my God. So even if I get money, I'm so happy having to give the money out.
We're in trouble.
Shall I stay where I am?
You and I in big trouble.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's how we wrap. But stories you should expect for